So today we've got some work to do. We've got 4 hours to do it, and hopefully we're able to turn your mood around if you are a Mets or a Yankees fan. Of course, the Mets fan a lot more disappointed than the Yankee fan right now, even though they lost a just heartbreaking, crazy baseball game, but they're still up 2-1. The Mets obviously on the brink of elimination, but man, you want to talk about as fun and as crazy as a baseball game that we have seen the Yankees be a part of in a very long time, unfortunately on the losing end. That was yesterday out in Cleveland, and the Dodgers are just slapping around our team, man. Just slapping them around, and hopefully when I am at the game a little bit later on today, we see them at least send this series back to L.A. so we don't have to watch the Dodgers celebrate at Citi Field. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. You know, I'm not a Yankee fan, but if I were, I'd be in stunned disbelief. That's how I would characterize yesterday's complete meltdown. It's amazing. They had total scored 8 runs in the last 3 innings between these two teams. And Luke Weaver had 2 out, and then 8 pitches later, the game was tied.
Yeah, I mean, it was a meltdown
amazing
for both teams. I mean,
yeah.
think about it. First, it was the Guardians meltdown, and then the Yankees meltdown.
It is. So, I will say, when watching all these games now, and you watch them closely, and these are the Final Four, and it's really great that, you know, both teams here in New York are gotten this far. You realize, I mean, you do realize, and we all realize this as baseball fans, and we know it goes on throughout the season, but it never really, it comes into focus, but it really comes into focus when you get to this level and to this, you know, the end of the season. You're in October baseball. How important the bullpens truly are and what they do and how they do it. And I think the Mets had, I want to say, 12 punchies yesterday, I heard. And I think the Dodgers had 11 punchies, whatever those are. But no, actually, strikeouts is what I'm talking about. I just heard somebody on this radio station yesterday describe them as punchies. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I heard that as well. It was Brandon Tierney. He's a baseball guy. Played at Marist.
Yes.
You know, he's got all the lingo that we've never heard. So,
yeah,
punchies.
I mean, like, I have
too
lingo.
many punchies.
Like, I have like, I played football.
Yeah.
And I have football lingo, but I don't use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, so anyway, it just goes to show you, like, what the Mets have to do. Now, the Mets, they hit the ball well yesterday. They had traffic on the bases. They just couldn't get the key hit. We all know it. And there's nothing more frustrating than not getting the key hit. And there are a lot of guys, whether it be your guy, Jesse Winker, or Jeff McNeil, or Francisco Alvarez gets a hit last night. I mean, everybody had opportunities to really participate and keep up with the Dodgers. But, you know, once the Dodgers and Mookie Betts now is getting heated up and Ohtani, you know, hits the second pitch of the game out, you're like, oh, what are we doing? So it's frustrating. It's demoralizing for sure. You're going today. I hope that somehow, some way, the Mets can get it to a Game 6. But it just feels now, after watching these last 2 games, this Dodger bullpen is, while they'll put guys on base, I mean, when they need to get an out, they get an out.
Yeah, and the Mets bullpen has been horrendous when called upon in this series. Jose Quintana, they talked about it incessantly on the broadcast. I mean, we understand that he has the biggest chase rate, and he throws the fewest amount of strikes, and the Dodgers take the most pitch. I mean, they said it every 10 seconds. They talked about it. We understand. And he wasn't great. He wasn't terrible, but he had them in a situation to be able to still win the game. And obviously, you talk about the lack of offense, and then the Dodgers just explode again. So there's 2 ways to look at it. There is the way that I feel, and what we've seen is that the magic has run out. We are watching a wizard or a sorcerer lose his power right in front of us, and it just feels over. It feels like they had this magical run, and they've walked right into a propeller. They hit the buzzsaw, whatever stupid analogy you want to use. That's what it feels like.
And the problem is it's at home.
Right.
I mean, they just got drilled at home 2 games in a row, and I'm disappointed. Normally, I'm like, I see the glass half full, but not in this case.
Well, right. But there is a path for a glass half full, and that's really the only way that I can go into Citi Field tonight. because I don't want to show up there feeling like it's a funeral.
Yeah, you don't want to have a defeatist attitude.
Right, because it's like then I'm just ruining every part of it. So if the game ends up going like these last couple of games have, and they get blown out again and the season's over, okay, that would suck. But I want to go there with some juice. I don't want to feel like everything is done. So here's whether you choose to believe or not, there's fact over feeling and things like that. But if they can somehow, and Flaherty wasn't great the entire postseason, he was great against the Mets, but they can somehow get out to a lead. Peterson's pitching. He pitches really well. And the Mets have some magic one more time. You go back to L.A., and they got their bullpen game against Manaea again, which is the game that they won, the other game that they won, and there's a path to a Game 7. So that's what I'm going to be thinking about when I walk in there. However, they look like they're getting pounded like a veal. I mean, that's what it feels like right now.
Yeah.
And, it's tough.
It's very disheartening and it's very disappointing, especially when their stars are showing up and hitting home runs. If their stars are showing up and getting those key hits, getting on base. The chase rate thing yesterday was just incessant. I mean, my head was going to explode. We all understand that Quintana is a nibbler. He likes to nibble, and and the reason he doesn't want to throw a strike is because of what Shohei Ohtani did with the second pitch of the game.
Right, and Max Muncy is
killing us.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like him. Like, he honestly, and Smoltz said it, he does not swing at balls. Like, does not.
And the Mets do, or the Mets stand there frozen with the ball coming right down the middle.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
That's another thing. I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, like they're either guessing or they're completely fooled. And by the way, Yamamoto again, like you give a guy $350 million and he pitches like 4 1/3 innings.
Yeah, I know. I'm happy he's not on the Mets right now, and you give that type of money to a position player who is young and plays every day. That's why Juan Soto's going to get the money, or you give it to a guy like Shohei Ohtani who can do two things, and then he can, when he's hurt and can't do his pitching, he still wins an MVP as a 50-50. That's the money. Those are the guys you give the money to. But yeah, so I was disappointed. I was defeated. But if I've sat here and talked about for years how I've matured as a sports fan and an adult, I can't let what happened the last couple of nights ruin my day today. Like I have to have a good time. I will have a good time. And I don't know. I just don't want to feel beaten all day long. So I'm going to, even though I know what we've been watching and I know that it's bleak, I'm just going to try my best to make the most out of today. And if they win, how special would that be?
Well, you want to know something? What is really special?
Yeah.
Is this leaf that you're overturning this morning.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that because it doesn't put like a lot of pressure on me today because I didn't know how you were going to be. I do know that Panarin had a hat trick last night, so there's something I can like dive into. It was on ESPN Plus or Hulu or something. I forget what it was on. But
yeah,
I was able to watch that, and that made me feel good.
Sure,
made me feel good that the Ranger power play is where it needs to be. And then I was thinking about those poor Yankee fans who had to sit through that 8-pitch debacle, in the bottom of the ninth. I mean, it's 2 outs. Right?
Two strikes.
Well, we got 2 outs, and then you're obviously give up the double.
Well, yeah, but that was 2 strikes with the double.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then a guy that basically he comes up the plate talking about where's he been, what's he been doing,
what's he doing, yep,
what's going on. He's like 1 for 17 or something, and you're thinking, all right, no problem. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, and
that was a no doubter.
Right. And then even, prior to that, with the Yankees, the Guardians had exactly what they wanted with Clase coming in saying, all right, he hasn't pitched in the series. He's ready to go. He's going to give us, a 4-out save. And then here is Aaron Judge, bang. Then Giancarlo Stanton, bang. And you're like, oh, my Lord. Like the Yankees are going to just sweep this series, forget about it. Then they tack on. So it was just as unlikely a 8th and 9th inning that you could possibly script. And I don't think this catapults the Guardians. I mean, I just the Yankees still, I believe, are going to win in 5.
I mean, it was a moment yesterday. Obviously Judge and Stanton.
Yeah.
That's legacy stuff. That's stuff that just great moments are made of. And you're thinking, okay, the Yankees just did something. Okay, we got this. And Luke Weaver's been great for them. And, 8 pitches later, it's so amazing that it happens so fast.
Yeah. And, the guys are talking on a broadcast about Clase and how good he was in the regular season and how what he's given up in the postseason in his handful of appearances in a couple of series is equivalent to the amount of runs and hits and home runs he's given up in the entire regular season. So you really have no idea. And then Weaver, of course, as we know, has been spectacular for them. I mean, you could have made the case that he was the best reliever in the postseason up until this point. And then he chokes it up. So you really
Clay
don't.
Holmes comes in and he chokes it up.
Yeah, I mean, right.
I mean, Clay Holmes needs to come in before the last inning.
Sure, which has been working.
Yes.
Which has been working.
And by the way, there was, article was written yesterday that this Yankee bullpen is doing, great things, and it's, going to be a legacy bullpen, and then this happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I still believe that it's a strength of theirs. But
it just goes to show you just how important these bullpens are in these games.
But you also can't, right? But
did you ever feel yesterday?
Can't really predict it either.
Even when Phillips had the bases loaded, did you ever feel like somebody was going to come up and get it?
No, I haven't. I haven't this. I mean, of course, game 2, you had the big hit from Vientos, and you had Lindor lead off the game with a home run. But these 2 games at Citi Field have just been. I mean, I don't know how many times we got to see them stranding runners at third base with less than 2 outs. And the fact, I mean, think about the
bases loaded with no outs.
Right. But it's that. It's, first and third, 1 out. How about the fact that they scored on essentially a miracle for Brandon Nimmo beating out the throw on that double play. That's how they got that run home from third there. The guy's got plantar fasciitis. He could barely move. He hits a rocket to second base and somehow still beat that throw.
You know what it is?
It's impossible for them to score.
I had that same thing, and it just derailed the end of my career. It is when you're doing what Brandon's doing and he's trying to do, you don't even think about that your foot hurts when you got to get down to the base.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it.
Right.
And then after you do it, you realize, man, what, obviously he had to do what he did. But then you see him running out into the outfield in the next inning, and you could see that is just, it's killing him.
Yeah, no, it is. And he's talked about being in a walking boot as soon as the season ends and all that stuff.
Because there's nothing you can do. They'll put some PRP in there, and they'll try to, stabilize it for about 6 weeks, and hopefully it will heal on its own, and they'll do some modalities to it. But it's literally the worst. And he's out there busting his ass. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, of course. And he's doing everything he can for the team. Freddie Freeman was doing the same for the Dodgers. Obviously, he didn't play last night. I think you'll see Nimmo again tonight. I don't think there's any way he's not going to be in the lineup. I would like to see J.D. Martinez out of the lineup tonight, quite frankly. I do think this could be finally a full Jesse Winker game. And, Francisco Lindor, other than that home run in this series, the Dodgers have figured him out.
Striking out a lot.
And they're striking him out. So they're working him inside. They're throwing those curveballs on the when he's hitting lefty on the inside part of the plate, and he's swinging over top of it. They're throwing fastballs up in the zone. He's not catching up to those. And if he isn't him to be the catalyst for this offense, then it's even worse.
Both the Mets and the Dodgers both left 12 men on base.
Yeah,
when you think about the opportunities that the Mets had and they just couldn't cash in, and that's
same thing the other night. Same thing in Game 3.
It's the difference in this series.
So then you can, if you want to be glass half full, you could say, hey, I mean they've had the opportunities. Maybe they get the big hits tonight.
Yeah.
But of course, the way Flaherty pitched in Game 1, you're like, But the Dodgers.
But it's baseball, man.
It is, and. The Dodgers want desperately to finish this series in 5. They don't want to go back to L.A. and play another game and have a bullpen game and then go up against Minaya, who had them looking silly. They don't want any part of that. Because then they're thinking, then they get this sphincter shrinkage in Game 7, and they've had all these playoff busts and all this stuff. They don't want that. So, I mean, maybe you can make a case that, they're a little bit tight because they're wanting to win this game.
A little bit tight. I don't think they're tight. I don't think there's anything
I'm
tight
trying, man. I'm saying,
I know,
and the Mets have nothing to lose at this point, and the pressure's off. It's like, hell, we're supposed to lose this series now. So, maybe that mental factor plays into it. I'm trying.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean. I don't mean to do. Good. I'm proud of you. I am proud of you.
I am trying.
Taking your mom to the game tonight. Gonna be great.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be like, I'm so proud of you turning on this new leaf, and then
Yes.
I'm trying to give you reasons to believe, and you're like, tight about it. Dodgers going to stomp all over them. Yeah, I am. So I will have a good time with my mother no matter what tonight. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get there early. There's a little, like a pregame party thing that's happening over there at the K Corner. We're going to go and hang out there. Fleegs was there yesterday. He had a good time there. So
Fleegs is leaving town.
What do you mean he's leaving town?
He's leaving town for the weekend.
Where's he going?
He's going to see Taylor Swift down in Miami.
Oh, wow.
Surprised he's not off today.
What is it what day? Saturday?
So we're definitely going Saturday. I'm getting in tonight. We're going to see if tickets drop. We might also throw in tonight.
Oh, okay. But Sunday you're leaving open, right? For
Sunday, I'll be at home watching,
All right.
hopefully, the Mets live and Jets on DVR and not watching the Jets live.
All right. Nice, man. That's a nice little trip for Fleegs. So if the worst case scenario happens and the Mets get eliminated, Fleegs is down in Miami watching his.
What number concert is this for you?
Overall or just this tour?
No, overall.
What an answer.
That math's going to be harder to do. I think it's low double digits, like 10, 11, that range probably.
All right.
I actually thought it'd be more.
I actually thought you were going to say like 30.
Yeah, I thought, yeah. So
Oh, no, I'm doing the math. This is at least 14. I was wrong.
Okay. All right, 14. 14. Dedicated.
She owes you. You're a Swiftie. She owes you. You're paying a lot of money for that.
You know what? The Mets owe us, just as Al said this morning. The Mets owe us one more special night. They do. The fans who were there, the OMG, the rally pimp, the whole thing. The people who've been in the purple grimace costumes. Just one more night, please.